All right, let's just get right into it. We have all been there, right? You're trying to pay a tax or renew a license or just find some simple piece of information on a government website, and so often it just ends in total frustration. Well, today we're going to break down the science of why that happens and what it really takes to build a digital service that people will actually trust and use. It's such a universal feeling, isn't it? That mix of confusion, maybe a little distrust, when you're trying to navigate some official online portal. Well, you're definitely not alone, and it turns out there are some very specific scientific reasons behind that whole feeling. Now, this whole push for e-government, it's not new, but the pandemic basically threw it into hyperdrive. Suddenly, what used to be a nice-to-have became an absolute must-have. Governments all over the world had to get their services online, and they had to do it fast. And this right here is the absolute heart of the problem. You can build the most high-tech, fancy website in the world, but if people don't trust it or if they can't figure out how to use it, it's a failure. The real mountain to climb isn't the code. It's all about human psychology. So, how do we actually figure out what works? Well, it turns out a really fascinating study out of Jordan gives us some major clues. They took a deep dive into a government department that went all in on digital, and what they found is basically a blueprint for everyone. So the focus of the study was the Department of Lands and Survey. And this is a big deal because back in March 2021, they made a really bold move. They became the first national institution in the entire country to put every single one of its services online. This basically created the perfect real-world laboratory to study this stuff. And to get to the bottom of it, the researchers didn't just guess. They surveyed 407 actual citizens. They collected real, hard data to understand the precise things that make people either jump on board with a digital service or what makes them stick to the old-school paper and pen ways. So what the study did was boil it all down to 6 key ingredients for trust. But don't think of this as just a checklist. It's better to think of them as a series of promises that a website has to make and keep to win you over. First up, and this is the big one, is reliability. It's the most basic promise of all, that the service will do exactly what it says it will. Will my payment go through? Is my form going to be processed on time? If the answer is anything but a solid yes, that trust just starts to vanish. Okay, so once you believe it actually works, you have to feel safe using it. And that brings us to the second promise, security. We're talking about our most private information here. Financial details, personal data. Users need to feel like that website is a fortress. I mean, any little bit of doubt here, it's a total deal breaker. Then you've got the actual experience of using the site. It has to look and feel competent, and that comes down to website design. And this isn't just about making it look pretty. Is it easy to find what you're looking for? Does it look professional? A clean, intuitive design basically signals respect for your time. And that design has to deliver on our fourth promise, ease of use. Here's the kicker. You shouldn't need a user manual to figure it out. It has to be so intuitive that pretty much anyone, no matter their age or tech skills, can use it without wanting to pull their hair out. The less you have to think, the better. But hey, even the world's most perfect website is totally useless if nobody knows it exists. That's the fifth promise, awareness. You have to tell people not just that the service is there, but why it's better for them. What's the real benefit of clicking a button versus standing in a long line? And finally, there's a big picture societal promise. We have to address the digital divide. We just have to face the fact that not everyone has a fancy smartphone or high-speed internet. A true public service has to be for everyone, and that means actively working to close that gap. So there you have it, our 6 key ingredients. Now, you might be thinking, okay, just check off those 6 boxes and you're golden, right? Well, this is where the research gets really interesting and drops its biggest surprise. There's this hidden psychological layer that kind of changes the whole game. It turns out it's not as simple as if you build a reliable website, they will come. The study found a much more complex path. Those 6 factors we just talked about, they're just the start of the journey to get someone to actually click that submit button. And this breaks it down perfectly. So step 1, you have those 6 factors, reliability, security, all of that, but they don't lead directly to usage. Instead, they go to step 2. They shape a user's attitude. They create a gut feeling about the service. And it's only after that positive attitude is formed that you get to step 3, actual use. A great way to think about it is that our attitude is the gatekeeper. All those fancy features, the design, the security, they all have to get past this gatekeeper first. If a person's gut feeling is just, nah, I don't trust this, then it doesn't matter how great the service is on paper. They're just not going to use it. Period. So, the obvious next question is what shapes that attitude the most? Well, the data here tells a really clear story. Just look at reliability. Its impact score is 0.47. That is more than double the influence of the next closest factor, which is ease of use. What this screams is that above everything else, people just need to believe this service is going to work. No questions asked. Okay, so this is all really fascinating stuff, but what do we do with it? How do we turn this research into real-world success? Well, the great thing is, the study gives us a clear blueprint, not just for governments, but really for any organization trying to build a digital service that people will actually love. So in practice, what does this all mean? Well, it gives us a really clear playbook. Think of it like a pyramid. The absolute foundation, the base of everything, is reliability. This service must work, accurately, every single time. Then, building on that, you have to nail security and user-friendliness. Then you have to run campaigns to raise awareness. And finally, at the very top, you have to actively work to help everyone get online with things like training and public internet access. And that brings us to the final question, and I really want you to think about this for yourself. As more and more of our lives go digital, what is the one thing, that single, non-negotiable factor that makes you trust a new app or a new website with your information? Is it reliability, security, or maybe something else entirely? It's a really important question for all of us as we move forward.